Hi. I've got a guest. Do you want to see the guest? Where is she? Ta-da! Yeah. So I thought I'd do a video on driving lessons. And some people might not really know how to go about that, if they can do it, etc. So I thought I'd just do a little video on where, what might be the best approach for you, and tell you what worked for me. So with my autism, I have processing difficulties. So I can't multitask. My brain is slightly better than it was, but it's also totally shut off sometimes. So, like if I'm cooking, people can't talk to me because I can't concentrate, especially when I'm dealing with hot dishes and stuff like that. So with driving, the same applies really. I've been driving now for a couple of years, and I've slowly started to, you know, become a natural thing. But whenever I learn anything, it might be the same for you. It takes a while for it to settle in, for it to embed itself. But still, when I'm driving, I have to be alert and careful because, well, anybody does, I know that. But what I mean is, my brain can drift off with attention deficit and ADHD. So I'm very aware of that, and I keep as hyper alert as anybody can, particularly for myself. But yeah. So when it came to learning to drive, you've got to get the right instructor. So I know of one locally here who's fantastic. She was the reason I've passed. I can tell you what the right instructor for me was, and then I'll tell you what the wrong instructor for me was. So the right instructor, now she had never taught anyone autistic, I don't think, before, and she didn't realise until within our relationship that I was, autistic, and she didn't know she was good at it. So she, very matter of fact, fantastic quality, doesn't use too many words, unlike me. Direct and to the point. Repeats. So we would repeat the same thing over and over, and she would use the same words, but not many. So like changing gears, she would go over and over and over again, which was fantastic for me because to learn, for it to sink in, to process, she was bang on. It was exactly what I needed. And she didn't use any forms of put downs, but she didn't. She did celebrate my successes, but she was also really good because when we'd finish, she'd go, "How do you feel about that?" Rather than her just telling me how she felt, probably because that's what I would do. I guess this is how I feel, because I'd do that. But she goes, "How do you feel about that?" And then I'd say, "Well," and she'd be very honest. She wasn't somebody who hid things at all, which was great because she's perfect for an autistic. So I would say, "Well, I wasn't very happy about that." "No," she says, "I agree. Right, should we practice that?" And so this is why I passed. She was very calm as well, and fun, but not too much fun. Say, she is an ADHD like I am, so I could be bouncing off the walls, but she was very calm and direct. So if you're going to go driving lessons, this might be the person for you. Okay, the wrong driving instructor for me. So one of the first people I had more recently, because I'm later in life learning to drive, which you probably know why some people might, because of lack of confidence, lack of self-belief, terrible anxiety. I had terrible anxiety learning. I never thought I would do it. So, but the wrong instructor, it took me a while to recover from him. Because I know he didn't mean it that way. I'm sure. Well, of course he didn't. But for an autistic, he talked loads, fast as well, at quite a speed. He was also anxious and nervous, which triggered my anxiety. It's like I say, in the other instructor, she was very calm and not afraid, but he was anxious, and he actually made my confidence plummet, and I actually became more of a dangerous driver because I was so anxious all the time. And he would worry about, like, there was some kids on a pavement, but I mean, like, I'm miles away from him, and he'd go, "Don't run the kids over." So it was the language he used and everything. Because I'm already hyper aware, it made me more hyper aware of, again. So it didn't help. So, like, the lady who taught me, she revealed to me what was needed, not overly worrying, which is already what I probably would do anyway. Yeah, and he shattered me. He also had this. He didn't do it the way I needed. He wanted to go too fast from not driving to driving. So there was a method that some were teaching where you go out of a junction without stopping. But where I live, there's this main road going up and down, and this is though they want to keep the traffic flowing. But logically, you can't learn that until you're an experienced driver, and really experienced, and you've been doing it a while, that you can judge that the vehicle coming. You can't do this like within three lessons and learn to do that straight away. It's a dangerous thing to do. I remember telling my driving instructor who helped me pass, she said, "Really?" And she goes, "Gosh, that's crazy, because the road where I am is busy up and down, and it's got a stop thing anyway." And some of these things the guy wanted to teach me weren't things that somebody who's inexperienced could get used to naturally straight away. So you get the right instructor for you, not somebody who makes you feel anxious and uses put downs and criticisms and pushes you to do things when you're not comfortable and ready to do them. So that's what I'd say. Another little tip I would say is, no, I did learn in a manual car, gear shift thing. But I now drive an automatic. There's not too much to think about in an automatic. So if your processing is bad, I do recommend automatic. You've got way less to think about in that way, and more time to spend concentrating on the road, who's around you. I do recommend automatics for autistics. It will make driving more accessible for you, and you can do your test in an automatic and just stick to automatics. The downside, I think, of an automatic is that the car wants to drive itself. So you are mostly braking constantly to stop the car from driving. So that was uncomfortable for me at first, because it just kept driving. It's like you just start it, it's just going. So at first it felt a little bit freewheel. You have got more control in a gear shift car. I noticed that the engine brake is great, less chance of speeding. So with an automatic you can speed without realising it, if you don't keep an eye. So I've got used to it now. So that's the downside of that. But yeah. So this is like about driving lessons. There's something else I can say about that actually, but look, this video is going on too long. I might put this in a second video. All right, bye guys.